Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Can you hear me? Check, 1 2, check, 1 2 1 2. All right. What's going on, guys? So this is the first of many podcasts. Chew on this. I'm Choo Choo, and I got some stuff to talk about, man. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Well, it's not a lot, but this it's been kind of on my spirit, so I feel the need to talk about it for sure. Um, so there's this rapper, this kid rapper. This kid is like this kid is like uh hell 9 years old, and I'm gonna just let you see it. Just let you see it for yourself.
Real. If you ain't suck a dick, little bitch, you can get the fuck up on my shit. Hunt around, hit him with a Glock, take a fucking dog. Hunt around, bitch, we in that kill, we gon' take him down. 12, get behind me, we gon' do 60 fucking miles. I remember D, keep on talking, bitch, I remember D. Point bean up on his head, suck his shit, he went out bad. 50 round, nigga know what, play with me, I'm shoot his ass right in that ground. Hit around, step on LeBron Gray, hit him in the face. She gon' suck the dick, go crazy, bitch, I'm in the lamb, B, keep on talking, hit her in the glam. Bitch, I have up in the glove.
Yeah, I did watch the whole thing. Yeah, so this is ridiculous. What was the first bar he said? If if you ain't sucking dick, bitch, you can get the fuck up out my shit. This is wild. This kid is not. This is wild, bro. This wild, bro. My little brother 10. I could not. I couldn't imagine him saying nothing like this. I'd be blown away, bro. That's that's crazy. This is crazy. He flexing money and shit. This is crazy. I don't I don't condone this. As somebody that makes music, make hip hop music. I was making drill music and stuff too, like the murder music. Yeah, I was making that. And I had a kid. His name was it was Lil Mo. The kid super talented. But he was in the streets. And that boy was I mean, I don't really know nothing about him, but from what I heard, the boy was active. And cool kid. When I met him, real down to earth and stuff. Real cool kid. But it's just unfortunate that these kids is being raised in this environment, and they turn into stuff like this. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy. So it's I don't know. This dude getting a lot of backlash in these comments. I don't comments. This dude getting a lot of backlash in these comments. How do you sit through this? How do you sit through recording this and editing not once think that this shouldn't be promoted? Yeah, it doesn't infuriate me when kids get experimental with their sexuality. It horrifies me when adults around can't react accordingly and stay the hell out of it. The comments on Twitter were way worse, way worse. These people just gassing them up on YouTube, but Twitter was grilling the dude. Four shooters. Yeah, they was grilling him. I don't know the guy. I respect his work for sure, but this ain't it. This ain't it. Um, that's wild. That's wild. That's honestly wild. So I also want to talk about niggas. I want to talk about niggas because I'm on the south side of Chicago. I'm black, and I've been living on the south side for my pretty much my whole life. Not pretty much, it has been my whole life. Um, I know what type of kids do certain stuff. I could pretty much spot them out at this point. Um, it's say if you get off work from a 15-hour shift in your hood, get on the bus and see this, what you doing. Uh, Honestly, man, I wouldn't like see that's the thing. I'm desensitized to it, so I'm not really tripping on this. I know that the chances of something like this happening to me is probably low because unless they just feeling hot headed and you interact with them. But if you ignore them, you probably be alright. But they just be looking for trouble. I'm not saying that these kids in particular are looking for trouble, but I used to want to sit in the back of the bus to be cool and sit with the rest of the other kids. But then I realized like it ain't nothing but a back in the bus, but a bunch of BS. They back there, joking and breaking stuff and opening the window, throwing shit out the windows and stuff, and it's crazy. And I don't got time for that. I tend to stay away from people like this, from kids like this. Even when I was in high school and elementary school catching the bus, I stayed away from shit like that. I just had sense. And we all know them kids, man. If you grew up in the inner city and you know them kids, you could tell. We loved Europa. Europa was good. I'm honestly thinking about watching it again. Honestly thinking about watching it again, especially since everything that's going on right now. Europa I bet it's getting a lot of traction because people looking at the Jews and stuff. So for sure, for sure, great doc. That's the documentary to end all documentaries, honestly. And if you haven't watched Europa: The Last Battle, watch that. Watch that because Europa is one of them movies, one of them documentaries where you get so much information and you can look it up. Look it up. It's all true. Well, not all true. I didn't look up everything, but some of the stuff that I did look up, like I looked up like certain translations that he said that Hitler was using when he was talking about when he was giving his speeches and stuff, and the mistranslations. Um, I looked up the Heddenvolk, which they said translated to Lord people, basically saying that they think the German folks are better than everybody else. They're Lord to the rest of the people. It really just means like gentleman people. Gentleman people. It actually does mean gentleman people. It's a rough translation. It means like God people, people of God. So like if you was saying you were a man of God, or like a gentleman, you're a Gentile. They're Gentiles. Um, and definitely about like you can't. if you don't believe it, just look it up. He was talking about all the people that was in power. Not all Jews are bad, of course, but it's I think the problem with the Jews is that they're not calling out their people like black folks not calling out their people. I think it's a lot of truth to what Kanye said. We're like Jews, they don't really sell out their own, they look out for each other. But when there's some evil stuff going on, and it's just like downright evil, like black folks, we got the snitches get stitches. That's basically don't tell. And if you know it's some bullshit going on, you need to talk about it. You need to say something about it. You have to say something about it. Ephesians 5:11 says, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light, for whatsoever doth make manifest is light." Snitches get stitches is demonic. It's basically saying, if you see something, don't say nothing. It's a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. So if you see something and don't nobody want to talk about it, then you're not doing what God said. You're not. It's crazy, man. Like this is the type of stuff that's going on in the community.
This gotta stop. This gotta stop. First of all, there's too many bullets going off. That's too many people getting hit. But my guy, you right there with the red long sleeve. You too comfortable. Your energy is John Wickish. Your energy is too like you didn't run or nothing, man. You did a calm walk back with perfect posture. I keep saying humanity ain't that bad, but damn it, I'm hot.
Yeah, because he been doing this. He been doing it. Like, where are these kids' parents at? All these kids. This is ridiculous. Yeah, this don't make no damn sense, man. This don't make no sense. This don't make no sense. Hold on. Is that a white kid? That dude look pretty light. Nah, he not white. Excuse me. I'm a little sick. But this don't make no sense, bro. I was not doing this. I was not doing this when I was in high school. I was not doing this. Yeah, these kids, their parents failed them. This is single mother this is fatherlessness activities. It's ridiculous. The violence in this type of stuff should not be happening. It's only gonna get worse because nobody's talking about it. Nobody is basically shaming these people for just dropping these kids. Basically dropping these kids and not really caring for them. The fathers are not there. The mothers are just coddling these kids and just destroying them with so-called love. It's so-called love. It's not even real love. Because if you loved your kid, you wouldn't let him destroy himself, his reputation, and your reputation. That's why people was mad when they started. They mentioned fining parents 5K for if their kids commit a crime. I say raise it to 10K. Raise it to 10K. Why not make it 10K? So these people can start taking parenting seriously because they're not taking it serious. They're able to drop these kids off and dump them off with their grandparents and then go do what they want to do. It's crazy. It don't make no sense. It's ridiculous. So not all black people are niggas, but niggas, when I say niggas, I say niggas like I use the word nigga a lot. I use it casually for show. But when I be talking about niggas, I'm talking about like how Boondocks use niggas. A nigga is a term for an ignorant motherfucker. Somebody that's not using their brain. They just they having nigga moments. They just reacting and all type of stuff. It's not really no thought that go into it. It's just emotions and reactions and all type of stuff. It's niggas. A nigga will show up to your crib. A nigga bust the windows out your car. A nigga shoot you because you stepped on his shoes. Like it's crazy. But not all black people are like this. But niggas make us look bad. Every time I see something like this on the internet, I be like, man, they making us look bad. Now I don't even blame white folks for looking at me sideways, cause like, well, can you blame them? Can you really blame them if every time they see a black guy on the news or see him on the media at all, he doing some nigga shit. He's doing this. They doing this. They jumping on cars or they shooting at people or I don't even know, bro. It's crazy. And it don't get talked about because don't nobody want to talk about the single mothers. Because if you talk about it, you got to talk about the single mother. You got to talk about their parents. You got to talk about the parents. You got to talk about who's failing them. And we study black folks. We study talking about the schools and all this. We need more youth centers. We need more of this, more of that. You need more fathers in the house. You need more dads to discipline them kids. Them kids don't got no daddy. And I grew up. I knew my dad, but I didn't live with him. I saw my dad maybe a couple times out the month. You know, I would go there maybe a weekend or two, but I didn't really know him like that. You know, we kicked it from time to time, but he wasn't in the house. He wasn't really active in my life. I was living with my mama, and so was my brother. And we both had two separate dads. And the crazy part is, my dad always told me, like, my mom's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But she have flaws, she have faults. But she's able to, she can take it on the chin. My mom's tough. And my dad always told me, forgive your mother. She don't know what she's doing. She ain't never been a mama before. So forgive her. Be patient with your mom. He never told me to, he never once was mad at her. He never once told me to be mad at her. He never wanted me to be mad at my mom. My dad was a real chill, laid back guy. Whenever I did kick it with him, he was dropping some wisdom, dropping some knowledge. But he always said, don't resent your mama. Forgive your mama. And he also told me, he was talking about the other kids that, man, them kids ain't got no daddy. And he would always say, if the daddy ain't home, then the street's the daddy. The street's gonna be the daddy. The streets is gonna be the one disciplining you whenever you step out of line. And that type of love, that's not love. That's just consequences of your actions at that point. So you jumping off the porch on hard mode, and it's making you already don't have no real structure or discipline or nobody that really truly cares about you, because your mom's gonna call to you. You like, I can't tell you how many times we done seen folks on the news crying about their son, and their son was out in the field doing drills. He was doing drills. That man was out there killing folks, but he got killed. But now all of a sudden we supposed to believe that he was innocent, or because he got caught lacking, that instance made him innocent because he wasn't actively trying to kill somebody. That's BS. Because if you really knew your child and cared about your kid, they wouldn't be in the streets anyway. Send that nigga to military school. Send that nigga to boarding school. Send him with his daddy. But you'd rather keep the child, take the child support, take the government assistance, and then neglect the child. And then you get on the news and cry when your kid end up in jail or dead. And then somehow it's everybody else's fault. Luke 23 said, Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. They don't know what they're doing. These people are controlled by evil, and it's all coming from pride and ego. The single mothers have the biggest egos in the world, so you can't tell them nothing. They don't even take constructive criticism. Not all, but most. They don't take constructive criticism. You know, my mom knew she wasn't perfect, and my mom, like when I forgave my mom and I talked to her, when I told her that I was gonna forgive my dad, you know, for not being there, and basically, you know, I needed a father. He was kind of there, but he wasn't really there. He couldn't really be there unless I lived with him. So I forgave him. And as I was talking to my mom, she was like, man, is there anything you need to forgive me for? You know, like, man, can I get some forgiveness? Like, my mom was asking for my forgiveness because she understands that she's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. She made mistakes. I'm sure it's a million things she wished she could have done differently. It's a million things everybody wish they could have done differently. But we got to understand that it's bigger than what we think and what we do. It's spiritual. Excuse me. And when the kid don't have the father, he's disconnected from God, because the man is made in the image of God, and he's supposed to be the son of God. And yeah, man, you get your love from your dad. You get real love from your dad. The love from the dad is it's not a coddling, blind, impatient love, like, which comes from a lot of mothers, not all, but a lot. It's a commitment, it's a covenant. God is love. Love comes through the man, you know. Excuse me. And when you love somebody, it's not a feeling. It's not a feeling. Love is an action. It's something you do. You have love, and you can give love. Excuse me. Need some water. John 14 said, if oh, thank you. John 14 said, if you love me, you will obey my commandments. I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper who will stay with you forever. He's the Spirit who reveals the truth about God. If you love me, you will obey my commandments. If you love your dad, you will understand that you are a representation. If you love your parents, and it's in the 10 Commandments, if you love your parents, you understand that you are a representation of them when you go outside. So if you go out there and act a damn fool, you make your parents look bad, because who is raising you? That's the first thing you ask when you see an out of control kid. It's like, who the hell is raising you? Who is your parent? Where is your parents at? You are a representation of your parents, and ultimately you're a representation of, well, as a man, you're a representation of God on earth, Jesus on earth. You're a representation of that. So you have to know your purpose as a man, as a woman. That's it. It's no other genders. It's only man and woman. You got to know your purpose and know what you're here for. And when you start to search your purpose and try to find the truth, you know, Christ will show you. God will show you. I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper who will stay with you forever. He's the Spirit who reveals the truth about God. That's how it started for me. I was on my spiritual journey. I was getting real like confused at one point, and I was just like listening to a lot of feelings and stuff and a whole lot of thoughts. I was really in my thoughts. You know, around this time I broke up with my wife last year because I just was confused. I was listening to them thoughts, and I knew it wasn't right, but I somehow rationalized it, and thank God, you know, she took me back. But them thoughts will have you out there bad, man. Them thoughts will have you ready to murder somebody. It's crazy. It's hard to really talk about a lot of stuff with people, and that's why they crucified Christ, because he told the truth, and people don't like the truth, especially when they got skeletons in the closet, because they think you're gonna expose them, or better yet, they think you're talking about them. When you say something like, "Hey, abortion is murder," and a girl that had 3 abortions since she was 16 is like, "So you're calling me a murderer?" Well, I'm not calling you a murderer. I'm just saying that abortion is murder. But they take it personal because they weighing they letting their sin weigh on their shoulders, and it's weighing them down. It's weighing them down. You trying to pay a tab that you can't pay. You can't pay that tab. You cannot pay that tab. You racked up a tab that is so far beyond imagining. You sin without even knowing. So imagine what your tab is. That's like that's like them folks that did the Cash App scam and they $92,000 in debt from a Cash App scam. You didn't even know you was gonna get that deep. But now you look up and boom, now you owe the IRS $100,000. But you know, there is hope. Jesus paid the tab. He paid the tab with his life. And that's why you need his forgiveness. You don't think you need it because you think you got it yourself. If you just not think about it or suppress it or drink or smoke or do whatever, you think it'll just go away, but it don't. It don't. People had abortions and they still thinking about it today. And they had abortions 20 years ago. They still thinking about it. That stuff just don't leave. Those sins don't just leave. Especially when you become aware of the truth. You know better. At that point you know better. You struggling and you living in hell because you living in your thoughts and your emotions, and your thoughts is telling you that you'll never be able to pay that tab. You know it, so why not just keep running it up? It's like, well, I know that I got student loans, so I might as well. I'm never going to pay it off, so I might as well just go back to college and rack up more debt. The food is almost here. You don't think you need forgiveness because you don't forgive yourself. You can't forgive yourself because your thoughts won't let you. Your thoughts won't let you. You know, you don't want to talk about abortion because you had an abortion. You don't want to talk about stealing because you was looting for George Floyd. You don't want to talk about murder because Pookie or Nunu killed somebody last week. And you don't want to snitch on them because snitches get stitches. That's nigga activity. The black culture is demonic. It's literally the most evil thing at this point. I don't see anything more evil than what's happening right before my eyes. The food is outside. Take this. Yeah, it's honestly remarkable, man. This type of stuff. This type of stuff should not be happening. This should not be happening. This should not be happening. So when you come across a situation like this, you see this on the news, right? You see this. You see this on your timeline feed, and you open up Instagram and you see this.
Chicago, no. This
So then when you get on the bus and you see this, you like, your senses on 1,000. You like, well, shit, these look like the same kids. You can't tell me these not the same people. Hoods, the double hoods. Look, check this out. I want you to see this. The hood and the coat. And this just Chicago attire. This is just what we wear. But I want you to see how other people see it. Hoodies, sagging pants, Jordans, Air Force Ones. And I like wearing this stuff. I wear the same stuff. But I'm calling it like it is. Police not doing shit. And there's white kids out there too. That was certainly a white kid. And the white kids out there egging it on. It's like that class clown. You keep joking with him and stuff because you want him to just get crazier and crazier and crazier. But he get kicked out and you get to stay there. But you had a good time though. You just instigating. Look, this dude sagging, hoods on. And it's not even all black kids, but it's majority black for sure. Crashing into people. It's crazy. And it's a lot of Hispanic kids too. The Hispanic population, them kids, they be doing stuff. I had this kid when I was working at Chicago State. I was mentoring this kid. Cool kid, but you could tell that he was just getting influenced by the wrong people. He wanted to be something that really wasn't in his heart. Had guns and stuff, and he wanted to start rapping. And I make beats, so naturally we started to I started to kind of take him under my wing, and I didn't even know that I was me just being a mentor for him and actually working on something productive with him was encouraging him to really change his life. That boy is shooting music videos now. He's not even rapping no more. He didn't change his life. He's up there. Like, I've come across him naturally doing music, just see him working, shooting videos. Cause like he really like just saw somebody that cared about him, that genuinely cared, that was patient with him. And it just changed his outlook on life. It was simple. I didn't even know I did it. I didn't know. I just genuinely cared about those kids. Like, that they was my students. And when you genuinely care about them, they don't get that at home. So when they actually get it from somebody, especially from a man that's patient, it really can just it can cut a light on the kid. It will cut the light on, and it just changed their life. And that kid texted me. I was like, man, I just want to say thank you, man. You really inspired me. You really motivated me, man. I look up to you. Wow, you look up to me? Wow. I didn't know that. But the kid really turned his life around. I'm proud of him. He's working with the same people I'm working with organically. Look, my man throwing up. What's that? Is that BD or something? Yeah, I think he throwing up, or either BD or blood. Throwing up something. That's crazy. That's crazy. Can you hand me my phone, please? It's crazy. So that's what this is right now. Um, yeah, man, these women are destroying these kids. And I'm calling it like it is. Not all, not all, not all, but most. Like I said, I was raised by a single mom. But some people do it better than others. But you will be a fool to think that you don't need two parents to have the best chance of raising your kid to be a productive member of society. You would be a fool to not understand that you need both parents to give your kid the best chance. It's not, oh, there's some kids that's raised with one parent and they turned out fine. It's like, okay, that's an anomaly. But when you got mass groupings of stuff like this, I guarantee you 95% of them kids don't have both their parents. It's like, that's what it is. That's what it is. And these women just choose to ignore it. Don't nobody want to talk about it. Don't nobody really want to acknowledge it because they carrying all that burden on their shoulders. So when you talk about it, it's like you coming down on them with the weight they already got. And you need forgiveness. You need Christ's forgiveness. Christ can forgive you. God can forgive you. Matt 11:28 says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. I am gentle and lowly in heart, and I will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." My burden was like, you see my wife in the comments, she thinks she's funny. She thinks she's funny. She a comedian. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So just give it up to God. Just give it up to Christ. Christ will take it right away. And you won't have to live with it no more. But you walking around this this ball of emotions and anger and just thoughts and stuff, and it's not worth it. It's killing you. It's killing you. It's literally killing you. All that anger and hatred is killing you. So just give it up to Christ. He paid the tab. You don't have to die with $93,000 in debt. You don't have to, because there's no way you're paying it off. There's no way. There's no way. So God, our Father, loved us so much that he gave Jesus. So you don't even have to worry about it. Just believe unto him and you can inherit the kingdom of heaven. God even gave us the kingdom. He brought the kingdom to us. He brought it here. It's here. Thank you, Chrissy. Appreciate that. Excuse me. He brought it here. So it's no reason for you to be walking around carrying all that extra stuff, all that baggage. Really, it's baggage. It's baggage. People call you having these girls having all these kids, and you gotta date me. You gotta take care of my kids too. That's baggage. Yeah, that's physical baggage. But she got spiritual baggage, emotional baggage, all that wrapped into one. So, Zaza smoking that Zaza. So, people keep asking me about the Israel and Palestine conflict. Um, Two words about that: godless activity. That's what happens when you don't have God. As much as these people talk about God, there is no God between what you guys are doing. Clearly, that's That's not what happens when you're of God. You don't do that. I don't care what the reason. I don't care what the reason is. I don't care if you fight for land, if you get back, if you fight for water, food, resource. It shouldn't even be that. It shouldn't be that. I was talking to this this Egyptian guy last night at my job. He was Muslim, and I asked him what he think about Christians, and it was actually pretty spot on. He said that Christians are dumb because they think that the prophet Jesus is God. They think that Jesus is God. And if you think that Jesus is God, that means you're worshiping Jesus, right? That means you're praising Jesus, right? That means you think that God is a man. So you are no better than the Muslims praising and worshiping Muhammad, a man. But they praise and worship Muhammad, and we praise and worship Jesus, and we sitting there throwing stones at each other. We need to be giving all praise to the Most High. We need to be giving all praise to God. Jesus showed us the way for Christians. Muhammad showed the Muslims the way. I don't know too much about, Islam and that stuff, but I do know that, Muhammad is the guy. He's the guy. And we got, right, we got Jesus. Jesus is not God. And something in my spirit told me when I was on my spiritual journey, I was gonna steer far away from Christianity. I was not gonna do Christianity because I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact of worshiping a man. It didn't feel right. You feel me? I was just like, that's God. And then I was Marxist too, so I'm like, that white man is God. Just seeing all the pictures of white Jesus, I'm just like, yeah, that ain't God. That can't be God. Like, if that's God, like that's what it is. No, it's Jesus is my Lord and Savior, but he's not God. He said the Father sent me, but he and I are one. He's the image of God. He's the revelation of the living God in flesh, and he dwelled among us. I didn't have to read the Bible 3 times to get that. I got that on the first try. Like it's clear as day. The Father sent me. He and I are one. He's the image. So like the image of, if you take a picture of me right now, that's the image of me, but it's not literally me. We have the same, like Jesus and God has the same essence, the same spirit. He has the spirit of God within him, but he's not the Father. Because if he was praying, when he was praying, who was he praying to? He didn't pray to himself. And people would be like, oh, well, they was worshiping Jesus, they was praising Jesus. Well, because they was worshiping the image of God, and Jesus didn't correct them because they were right to follow him. They were right to follow him. They were right to follow him. And I guess at that time, praising him probably would be worthy. Because clearly those people didn't know God at all. So that's a step in the right direction. And they hated Jesus so much for telling the truth. All he did was tell the truth. And if you see that now, it's happening in our culture. People get blackballed or basically deleted off everything for telling the truth, telling the actual truth, the truth of black women destroying the black community, the truth of black men being weak, the truth of the man in general getting weak, the truth of this Trump thing being a political witch hunt, the truth of Biden is the worst president in the history of the world. It's the truth. It's the truth. But people hate the truth, and they hate God. They hate Jesus. That's what it is. It's spiritual. It's not literally them hating what you said. They're hating the spirit of truth. And that's what you learn when you read the New Testament, is that it's spiritual. The Old Testament was very physical, very literal. I forget the guy's name. The guy took out that giant with a rock or something. That's David. took out the giant with the rock. It's literal. It's literal. But Jesus came and died for us to live. Like, that sounds spiritual. Like, just that sounds like a poem or something. Nah, not right now. It sounds like a poem or something. It's because it's spiritual. And Jesus was speaking Hebrew. And I was even thinking about getting a Hebrew Bible to kind of get that poetic essence of it, because I loved the parables that Jesus said. It reminded me of my dad. It literally reminded me of my dad. And the crazy part is my dad is an atheist. But he just had the wisdom. That wisdom is he may have gotten it from the world, but something in him is, I think my dad can honestly, I think I can convert him to Christianity. I think it's possible, because he's really based. He's definitely based. But he just don't believe in God. He's like stuck on step one of, oh, if God's real, then why does all this bad stuff happen? And when he asked me that a long time ago, I didn't have the answer. I was like, well shit, that's a good question. Oh, that's a good question. How do I combat that? But my dad always just had wisdom. My grandma had wisdom, had great wisdom. You just know. You just know. So Jesus, when I fell in love with the New Testament, I love Jesus. Like, that man spoke the truth, and I felt what he was saying. Like, it was the parables. They're just metaphors. If you don't understand the metaphor, if you can't understand the metaphor, then you don't understand principles. Because the metaphor is just a different way of explaining a principle. And that's what it is. That's what it is. And the principle of this is that these people's parents don't love them. They'd rather go to work so they can buy their BBL to try to get another man, rather than actually taking time to spend with their kids and giving them the father that they need. Because this is fatherless activities. This, like, I don't even blame the police. Like, what are you going to do against that? What are you going to do against that? Appreciate that, Christy. For sure, I'm gonna keep talking to him. I talked to him. I talked to him before. We was going to play pool. I've been kicking it with him a lot. He be busting my ass in pool. But I've been playing pool since college. He just got good out of nowhere. I was like, all right. He got good out of nowhere. He been just like going a couple times a week. So now I be getting bust. Like, we about neck and neck now. But he still be trying. He be still letting me win. That's that little boy stuff. He still let me know, like, I'm still the dad. I'm still the father. So I be having to take it on the chin. But I was talking to him on the way to the place, and I forget how we get on the subject of Christianity, and I told him, like, yeah, he was like, oh, it's just all these religions, and they all saying one thing, and this religion saying another thing, and I'm like, no, it's not that they. Oh no, he was like, oh, one person said that they exist, and other religion says that he doesn't exist. I'm like, no. The main religions, they all acknowledge that Jesus was a real person. He absolutely was real. Absolutely was real. It's just, is he who he say he is? Is he the son of God, or was he just a prophet? Was he just a prophet? And he seemed to understand that. And I think that's just like, maybe that may plant a seed, and I just be sending them stuff too. Excuse me. I just be sending them stuff. And I think I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get them. I can see that happening. I could definitely see that happening. I don't expect him to be like a super Christian or anything. I just want him to, to accept Christ and understand that, all that stressing you was doing for all them years, Pops, is, It was because of your disconnect from God. That's what it was. Because my dad doesn't know his dad, and that's funny. My relationship with God growing up was parallel with my relationship with my dad. I knew he was there, right? You kind of know him. You get a little bits and pieces from him. Kind of tell you a little something from the spirit. Give you a little wisdom, but you don't know him. You don't really know nothing about him. You just kind of know, but you just at the end of the day, it's like not saying no respect, but it's no agreement, no covenant, it's no expectations that I had to keep because like, well, I live with my mom, so it is what it is. But he don't know his dad at all, which would make sense as to why he's an atheist because he hasn't been able to see the father. He hasn't seen the father. Yeah, once you believe, there's no stopping it. Once you understand it. But he's very cynical, very critical of a lot of stuff. Very very logical man, which I understand. I admire that about him. But but you gotta have some faith. You can be logical and have faith. Faith without works is nothing. Faith without works is dead. For sure. For sure. Yeah, yeah. I'm sad this chat not working. I gotta refresh it. Yeah, see this chat does not work for real. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, so I think we gotta this our black community, we gotta get this together, man. The black community gotta get this together. This ain't it, man. It's not it. We need to return to the Father. God said there'll be a time where I return the children to the Father. I believe it's coming. It's happening, but it's so much damage already done and still continuing to be done. And these women are destroying these kids. At my job, they I see few black families because I work at a black owned spot, so it's like 99% black people, and it's mostly black mom. If they do got a kid, it's the mom, the grandma, and the kid. No father. Mom, grandma, and the kid. Mom, auntie, and the kid. Mom, sister, and the kid. There's no dad, and there's rarely a dad. And when there is a dad, it's like, oh, it's that's refreshing to see. You could tell he's the man in his house. They married. They there. Or you got it's usually the older couples. It's the older couples. The younger couples, they got a kid, not married. Got his pants. I seen it today. She came in. She was a little bit younger than me. She had a baby. My man came in. His pants hanging off his ass. And I told him to pull his pants up, and they just fell back down. Or no, better yet, he did like the little half pull, boom, just pulled him up a little bit. Didn't even cover his ass no more. It's it's crazy. I mean, I love that he there with his child, if that's even his child, because there's no way to know. I'm assuming, but yeah, we got a lot of work to do, man. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of work to do. So I think that's really all I want to touch on today. I want to do, start my podcast, man. I'm gonna have some better content. I'm gonna have better content, better topics, better conversation. I want to start pulling people on the podcast and like talk with them and stuff. So I got my little setup and stuff now. So I wanna get a nice little setup and get some maybe debates, conversations. I'm not a master debater, so I'll never say I'm a debater. I like debating and politicking and fellowshipping, but I ain't no Ben Shapiro or no Matt Walsh or nothing. So yeah, this first of many podcasts. Please leave a like, comment. I appreciate the guys that was in the comments today. Catch Wreck and Chrissy. I appreciate y'all guys. Locked in with Zaza the clown back there. Here she is. This clown right here in the comments because she ain't got nothing better to do. Eating late dinner, said grace, and said a prayer for you. Bring your dad to God. It's great to recruit. Yes, it absolutely is great. And thank you. Excuse me. Thank you for that. Thank you. Definitely need it. My dad's gonna be a project, man. And his brother is like really good Christian. Talk to him a lot. My uncle. Definitely a good guy. He got him around him. But it's just a matter of if he gonna listen. But yeah, like I said, leave a like, comment, hit that sub button, follow her back here, locked in with Zaza. We trying to get monetized. Yeah, we trying to get monetized. So we trying to get a little check from YouTube. Yeah. I'm gonna be trying to do this maybe once a week if I can manage it once a week. Yeah. So appreciate the guys that is in here. Appreciate the guys that came through, and appreciate the guys that's coming after this video is posted. So catch y'all again next time, and we got some more videos coming up too. So y'all guys be smooth. Peace.